So you're going into China despite all of the uncertainty, the trade tensions, the sort of hostility towards foreign investors and U.S. companies in particular. Run me through how you are making it work.
Our relationship with China is very long-standing. We had an office there for the last 10, 15 years. We have 40 people already there to source contract suppliers for our projects that we do around the world. We sourced about $30 billion in the past few years, and Chinese investors invested more than $10 billion in our projects so far. So the relationship is really long-standing, very strong, very deep. I don't see any hostility, quite the opposite. I see a government, provinces that really are welcoming us to invest to help the decarbonization process of China. And I think that the current discussions that are going about potential slowdown of the country, in fact, open a great opportunity for companies like us who come and invest in infrastructure that are good for the people, good for the community, good for the environment, that the Chinese government wants to push.
Saudi Aramco is already operating there. Would it not make sense to team up with them or other local partners in China?
That's exactly the strategy that we want to do, to team up with local partners. For us will be at the beginning mostly state-owned enterprises that we have worked with in the past, Chinese companies with local knowledge, local people. Saudi Aramco, of course, is kind of like a sister company. We're all part of the Saudi environment. We are a little bit on different businesses, of course, as you know, but I think that there could be areas of complementarity that we will certainly explore.
Saudi Arabia would like to source quite a bit of its power generation from renewables. I mean, half by 2030 is the target. That's going to require a lot of investment. Can you quantify that for our global audience?
So Saudi Arabia today is going through one of the most ambitious decarbonization plans in the world. And we're privileged to be, as ACWA Power, at the center of it because we're responsible for delivering 70% of all the new renewables in the country. The country wants to be 50% renewable and 50% gas-fired by 2030. That means the total investment will be about 60 to 80 gigawatts of renewables and about 30 gigawatts of cogeneration and combined cycles. The total amount of this is like building the new power systems in less than 10 years. And it's probably an investment that it's in the hundreds of billions of dollars.
We have the ongoing Israel-Hamas conflict, which has seen horrible levels of violence. It's also causing or creating a bigger conversation around what a longer-term impact would look like for global financial markets, sort of second-round effect. What is the linkage to ACWA Power here, if at all, in terms of risks, as you have been reflecting over the last couple of weeks?
Well, actually, it's a tragedy, of course. I cannot comment, of course. It's not out of my sphere, out of my domain, the situation, but it's really, really tragic. I think it hit at a time when the peace process that was going on in the region was very advanced, both with Iran and the discussion that we heard with Israel. So I think, I hope that really it's a situation that will be clarified soon and for the better, for the good of the people there.
And then in terms of impact on ACWA Power, because if the violence sustains and the oil market gets rattled again, we see oil, let's say, over $100 a barrel. Let's take that scenario, for example. That could affect power demand levels in the kingdom, could it not?
Well, the fact is that the economy of the kingdom is already diversifying a lot from oil, which is part of Vision 2030. So it's becoming more stable, stronger, a lot of tourism, a lot of industrial production. So it's really something where the trajectory is set, and I think that the figures that I gave you before can be maintained. The other thing for ACWA Power in particular, we already operate in 12 countries, soon to be 14. So we're quite diversified, and we don't rely really on oil income or oil, the effect of oil on the economy. So I think that we are much more resilient than the short-term impact that this may have.
What about CapEx levels for 2024? What's going to go where in terms of your war chest to scale up?
For the next few years, what we expect is really to have an allocation of CapEx that will be probably around 60% in Saudi Arabia, 40% international. Today, Central Asia is one of the biggest areas where we are coming in. We have a great presence and relationship in Uzbekistan. I think we're blessed both in Saudi Arabia and Uzbekistan with great leadership, with vision, dialogue with investors, and quick decisions that are taken that are really moving the projects very fast. The next, as I mentioned, is China, but we will continue also to look at Africa and Southeast Asia to complement the portfolio.
Yeah.
There are a lot of opportunities there in desalination, green hydrogen, renewables for us to follow.